In this video, I will try to summarize what indoor environmental quality is. More detailed information will be presented to you in the coming videos, this and the following 2 weeks. What is indoor environmental quality? Indoor environmental quality is defined as comprising of indoor air quality, thermal comfort, acoustical quality, and visual or lighting quality. Although aesthetic quality and spatial and ergonomical quality are also part of the indoor environment, in fact, historically these factors received the most attention when designing a building, this course merely focuses on the environmental factors without downgrading the dimensions and aesthetics of shapes and spaces. I will quickly go through them to show you what each of them comprises. Let's start with indoor air quality. Indoor air quality is determined by the pollution or pollutants occupants are exposed to over time. The pollutants that can be found in that indoor air comprise of gaseous pollutants, of which some of them you can smell, for example emissions of molds in a bathroom as shown here on the left. And others do not, such as carbon monoxide, produced during cooking on a gas stove. And then there are several other components in that indoor air which influence the air quality, such as water and particles. These particles can be of biological nature, such as house dust mite and Legionella, but particles can also originate from materials. An example is shown here in the right lower corner of asbestos fibers. Bad indoor air quality has been associated with many diseases and disorders, such as lung cancer, cardiovascular diseases, chronic respiratory diseases, building-related illnesses, irritation of eyes and skin, odor annoyance, and decrease in productivity and learning performance. Then thermal quality, the parameter we are probably the most familiar with, including aspects such as feeling warm, cold, draft, etc. The big name everyone knows in this area is Professor Fanger, who tested his thermal-physiological model in climate chambers in the 1970s using several subjects. His model has been and is still the basis for guidelines on thermal comfort. The hypothalamus in our brain takes care of the regulation of our bodily temperature. This bodily temperature is determined by the core temperature, the temperature of the central parts or vital organs of the human body, on average 37 degrees Celsius, and the skin temperature, which lies usually around 34 degrees Celsius. When we are cold, which is detected by cold receptors in our skin and through our blood temperature, the hypothalamus signals to our nervous system to close up our blood vessels, and we start shivering in order to decrease heat loss and increase our temperature by moving. When we feel warm, on the other hand, our body will try to cool down by opening up our blood vessels and by sweating more. When people are dissatisfied with a certain thermal condition, they can suffer from thermal stress. Thermal stress occurs when one is not able to control its thermal balance, or when one believes or perceives it isn't possible. The psychological effect of expectations and the perceived individual level of control seems important. This is not taken into account in the model of Fanger. Another model than the model of Fanger, based on field studies of people in daily life, slowly begins to win ground. The adaptive comfort model, in which the context and preferences of the occupant are considered to be important. And then, even more recently, it is suggested that thermal neutral conditions do not have to be necessarily healthy. Studies indicate that increased exposure to thermal neutral conditions might be related to increased adiposity, increase of fat tissue. This was first shown in experiments with rats and later with adult men. Actually, it means that when your body doesn't have to work to feel thermal comfortable, more fat is stored. Okay, light. Light plays a major role in architecture. The parameter visual or lighting quality comprises of aspects such as illuminance and luminance ratios and colors, but also aspects you would rather prevent, such as reflection here on a floor in a fitness center where I used to follow my aerobics lessons. But visual comfort is more than providing enough light to perform a task. Also view is an important aspect to consider. And a very important issue with lighting quality is the use of natural versus artificial lighting, especially in relation to energy use. Then also non-visual effects have been studied in relation to lighting. In videos on lighting quality, you will learn also about that. And then last but not least, acoustical quality. Acoustical quality is influenced by noise from outside, such as traffic, indoors from neighbors and installations. But acoustical quality is also influenced by vibrations. Noise protection, noise insulation from noise outdoors and indoors are therefore very important issues, especially because we know how important a good night's sleep is for our health. I will get back to you on that in the videos on acoustical quality. So summarizing. Indoor environmental quality is defined as the combination of the four qualities: thermal, lighting, acoustical and air quality. In the next lectures, you will learn more about each of these factors and their parameters, but specifically thermal and air quality, as well as the control strategies you can use to keep them under control, to prevent or cure different related observed effects. Later in this course, you will also learn about interactions taking place between these factors. For more detailed information, I recommend you to read, besides a small guide, All You Need to Know About Indoor Air, Chapter 1 to 4 of the Indoor Environment Handbook, which provides basic information on each of these factors, their parameters and control measures of the indoor environment.